What's up, everybody? My name is Kyle, and I am super excited to jump into our first Learning SQL tutorial using NFL data. I'm logged in here into the Ivy platform, which I've hoped you've created an account so you can follow along with all of our videos here. It's a great environment, and we already have our database set up for us in the sandbox here using NFL data. And when you log in and create an account, you'll see there's a few pieces to this screen. The first is this editor view here where we're going to be writing our SQL, and over to the right we have a list of all of the tables that are available to us in the database, and then this bottom part here we're going to get our results as we run our queries. So if we take a look at these tables, these are all tables or sheets that are available to us in our database and allow us to query. And if you click one of these and drop it down, you can see all the columns that are available in this table. And because all of this is stored on a database on a computer on our servers, we don't get to just open it up in an Excel file. We actually have to go and pick out which things we want to read. So if we want to maybe pull some information off the game, we can write our first SQL query to pull the information or records from our database to our screen and start kind of looking at some information here. So in order to get started, the first thing we got to do is use the keyword select and then pass in a list of the columns that we want to read from. So let's do season, week, day, home, visitor. So what I'm doing here is I'm using the select keyword, which SQL will understand, and then I'm passing a list of columns separated by commas that are on our game table that we want to read. So we're not going to get all of these columns, so we're just going to get these 5. And because there are a handful of tables in our database, using SQL we have to say which table we want to read from. So we want to read from the game table. So we run this, and now we can start seeing our results pop up. So here we can see we have this table with the columns that we've specified in our query, and each row is a record in our table representing one game that was played. So the first result comes in and it shows Atlanta versus San Francisco is the first record, and then it's a long list of so on. You can see here that we have the first 100 returned to us, so we don't get everything, but you can see here that there's a total of 5,324. So this is pretty cool, but what if we wanted to pull some more information off this game table? Because these are all columns, we can request other ones. So we can request things like points home, points visitor. Maybe we don't get rid of those. So if we run this, we can now see that it's returning these 5 columns. So we get the season, the teams that played, and the score. And we're getting this for all 5,000 records, and we can see that this is kind of what our table looks like in our database. So we can do other things. We don't have to only query from games. We can query off a table for touchdown. So if we want to do that, we can write similarly select, and then we have to kind of look at what is available to us. So like how game had those columns, we have to see what columns we have available here. So it looks like we can do things like quarter, minute, second, yardage, type. So let's run this. Oops. See, we got an error here because we didn't specify which table that we're reading from. So from here, we have to say from the touchdown table. So we run this, and now we get these 5 columns again, but now instead of reading from the games, each record represents 1 touchdown. So you get information about each touchdown. Or, yeah. And so you can see that this was a reception, a rush, how long the play was, and then some information about when it occurred. So let's go back to the game table. Let's say we want to look at all of these columns here. We could go down and just write every column like this, or there's a shortcut we can do that will query every column on a table, and all we have to do is use the asterisk symbol here, and this will actually return every column, which in some cases can save a lot of time. So that's how you generally query for records. But what if we want to start filtering and only looking at specific records? So let's say instead of all games, we only want to get games that are in the most recent season, 2019 season. In order to do that, we have to give it a condition or a filter where season equals 2019. So what this is going to do is going to select every column and every row from the game where the season field is equal to 2019. So if we run this, we get a new set of results here. We can see only 267 rows were returned, and every game has the year 2019 as the season. So what if we wanted to look at another condition? What if we wanted to add, another condition here? Perhaps only look at games where Green Bay was playing in the game. So to do that, we can use AND. So this, using AND, it will look for records where both conditions are true. So you want to do season 2019 and visitor equals Green Bay. So we run this, and now we get every game where Green Bay was the visitor. And we can see we got 9 rows here. And this is good because we have every game that they were a visitor, but what about the games that they were the home team? I want to see every game that Green Bay was in. To do that, we can do an OR. Home equals Green Bay. So now let's run this. So after we run this, you can see that this isn't quite the data we were looking for. You can see that there's games from 2000 that are being returned into our table here, where what we want is games that are in 2019. So this is happening because of the way we wrote our condition here. The way that this is being operated is it will do season 2019 and visitor equals Green Bay, and it'll evaluate that, or anytime Green Bay is the home team. So that's why we're getting all of these results returned to us when we're not in the right year. In order to avoid that, we have to put parentheses around the conditions we want. So we put parentheses here, and now we get 18 games played by Green Bay. So you can see 2019. These are all the games. They had 18 games this season, and this now works properly. You can think about before we did this, these aren't really there, but it's kind of being operated on like this by default. So that's why we're getting the wrong results. So you can use other things besides equals. So let's look at some numbers here. So we have things like wind speed. Let's look at games in 2019 where wind speed was greater than 15 miles per hour. So we're going to use the greater than instead of equals. Now we can filter and get only games where the wind speed is greater than 15. So here we go. This is the wind speed. And these are all the games in 2019. So it looks like there's 17 games in 2019 with that wind speed greater than 15, which is pretty interesting. And we can see it looks like the 30. This is the windiest game this year is in Buffalo against Philadelphia, week 8. And if you want to include 15, so we're only getting games that are greater than 15, it's as simple as putting an equal sign, run this, and now this is going to include 15 in that range. So it's going to be greater than or equal 15. They're going to show, and now we're starting to get the 15s. This works for less than as well, and less than equal, but I want to stick with greater than for now. And so maybe I want to see the windiest games ever. So I'm going to do where wind speed is greater than 15 and delete that constraint. So now I can see that since our database started collecting data in 2000, there have been 408 games where the wind speed is greater than 15, and you can see all of them here. What if I wanted to sort so I could see the windiest games at the top? In order to sort, there's another thing we can do with SQL called order by, and then we just have to specify the column that we want to sort by. So if we want to sort by wind speed, we can do this, and then run it. And we can see here now, we are going to be sorting by wind speed. So you can see the 16 is, all at the top, and then we get 17. Well, this is nice. I want to know the windiest game, and this is sorting it from lowest to greatest in an ascending fashion. Where I want to see the windiest, I would need the greatest at the top and descending. So in order to do that, we have to tell the descend command into the order by writing DESC, descend. Then we can run that. And now our results are sorted in descending fashion by wind speed. So we can get the top one here, 40 miles per hour in Cleveland back in 2008 is our windiest game. And you can start to see a lot of these windy games were in Cleveland, which is pretty interesting. They have a lot of the top windiest games in history. Just with a few lines here, we can start seeing some interesting things like, how many games had a greater wind speed than 15 miles per hour. And then also we were able to find out and list the windiest games on record since 2000. And we also learned how to see the windiest games in a specific year by just adding that to the where clause. So that's going to be all for this video. And I hope we were able to cover a lot of the basic SQL extraction techniques. And I hope you can spend some time going through some of these other tables here. You can explore on your own time and kind of practice what we learned, just these general selection methods. And in the next video, we're going to start looking at some more statistics gathering, where we can start looking at some averages and start doing some math on some numbers and start getting some more interesting stats out of the data. So until then, play around here, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.